Dear students, this is the session 3 video on module 2. In that we are going to discuss on the foundation. So what are the different types of the foundation and where it is used and related sketches and all we'll see. So there are mainly two types of foundation. One is the shallow foundation and second is the deep foundations. So according to the Terzaghi, it's a geotechnical engineer, a foundation is a shallow if it is depth is equal or less than its width. So if the foundation is said to be deep if its depth is greater than its width. So this is the definition of the shallow and deep foundation. So if the foundation is shallow, the depth is equal or less than the its width. If if its depth is greater than the width, then it is called deep foundation. So here are the different types of the shallow foundation. One is spread footing, combined footing, grillage foundation, mat or raft foundation, and eccentrically loaded footings. So these are all the different types of the shallow foundation. We'll see one by one. Spread footing. So as the name suggests, in the case of spread footing, the base of the member transmitting the load to the soil made wider so as to distribute the load over a wider area. So as the name suggests, the meaning of the name itself is the mechanism of load transferring, that is spreading the load to the larger area. So spread footing. So the base of the member transmitting the load to the soil made wider so as to distribute the load over a wider area. The classification, again it has some classification like wall footing, reinforced concrete footing, inverted arch footing and column footing. So we'll see again one by one. First we'll discuss on the wall footing. So the figure shows the different types of the wall footing. One is a simple footing here. So this is the simple footing. This is the wall. Okay, it is a concrete base. So over that the wall is constructed. So here it's a stepped type. Here it is same width, you can see here it is stepped. The footing is stepped. So the base is common. This is if you want to lay any foundation, you need a leveled surface and it should be hard. So that's why the concrete base is there. Okay, that is common. Over that it is a uniform thickness. Here it is stepped. So both are wall footing. So if the wall directly rests on the ground, concrete without any step, it is called a simple footing. So there is no steps here. Stepped footing is used for heavily loaded column which requires greater spread, and the wall footing is a type of footing which is provided to support the wall only. As the name indicates, especially for wall. So in a stepped footing, it is used for heavily loaded column which requires a greater spread. Next is a reinforced concrete footing. So in the places where the walls are subject to relatively heavy loading and the bearing capacity of the soil on which the wall footing is to rest is low, in such cases it is desirable to provide a reinforced concrete footing below the wall. So where the SPC is low and load is heavy, in that cases the reinforced concrete footing is preferable under the wall. So this appreciably reduces the volume of the masonry work in footing and in depth of bed concrete, and such proves to be an economical one. A 7 to 8 centimeter thick bed of lean concrete is usually provided below the reinforced concrete footing to perform the function of concrete bed block. So this is how it looks. Uh, This is footing with uniform thickness. You can see here. This is the concrete bed, lean concrete, 136, 1 is to 3 is to 6 or 148 most of the time, 148 is used. Okay, so this is the RCC footing, uniform thickness here. Thickness is same. It's the RCC column. So it is a sloped one. You can see the sloped shape here, sloped footing. The bed is same here, 148 mix of thickness. It varies from 7 to 8 centimeter or up to 100 mm is generally they provide, okay, in a regular practice. So these two are the different types. One is uniform thickness and it's a sloped footing. Flat footing, we say, you might have heard the word flat footing and sloped footing. And next is the inverted arch footing. So inverted arch, so as the name suggests, there is a shape of inverted arch in a footing. So inverted arch footing is used to be provided for multi-story buildings in olden times. So however, the advantage of inverted arch construction is that in soft soils, the depth of foundation is greatly reduced. So this type of foundation is not commonly used for buildings, but it is quite suitable for other structures like bridges, reservoirs, tanks, support for drainage lines, etc. So regular building construction, these type of foundations are rarely used. Uh, Generally, it is for bridges, reservoirs, tanks, supports, and for supports of drainage lines. Okay. So next is the independent column footing. Okay. So isolated footings are most commonly used footings for reinforced cement concrete column because it is simple and most economical. An isolated footing is used to support a single column. Isolated footings are independent footings which are provided for each column. So similar to the reinforced concrete footing or foundation, it is. So it is separately provided actually. So in this type, the footings used when columns are not closely placed, loads and footings are less, and the safe bearing capacity of soil is generally high. Okay, so when it is not closely placed, because for a if it is very close, you cannot provide this independent footing. So loads of the footing are less, of course, and safe bearing capacity of the soil is generally high. Okay, so this option is better actually. Depending upon the load to be carried out and the bearing capacity of the soil, independent footings may be of brick masonry, stone masonry, RCC steel grillage, etc. Okay, so here the footings are provided independent, that is footings for brick pillars, footings for RCC columns, and footings for stone pillars. All this comes under this category, independent footing. Okay. And the second is again combined footing. So a spread footing which supports two or more columns is termed as a combined footing. So we have discussed in the very beginning regarding this spread footing. Here the load is transferred to the little bit larger area, wider area. So the similar way, if two or more columns are termed, I mean which supports the footing which supports the two or more columns, then it is called a combined footing. So it is classified as rectangular combined footings and trapezoidal combined footings. So it will be a rectangular shape if they carry equal loads. The design of rigid rectangular combined footing should be done in such a way that the center of gravity of the column loads coincide with the centroid of the footing area. It will be trapezoidal if the columns carry unequal loads. So there are two situations, two shapes actually. It will be a rectangular shape if there is a equal loads in the column. The design of the rigid rectangular combined footing should be done in such a way that the center of gravity of the column loads coincide with the centroid of the footing area. Okay, so it will be trapezoidal if the column carries unequal loads here. So second option. So when the combined footing is used, actually, what are the situations here? So a combined footing is used in the following conditions. When two columns are very close enough to each other such that their footing overlap. So this situation very oftenly comes in a site, actually, because especially in the city like Bangalore, you'll have a very restricted place. You cannot extend on either side or any other 3 or 4 sides. You have a very restricted boundary. So in that cases, this type of problems are common. Okay, so in that situations, you can go for combined footing. When two columns are very close enough to each other such that their footing overlap. Okay, when the load bearing capacity of the soil is low, the requirement of more area under the individual footing, because the pressure is depend on the area of the footing here, because that should not exceed the SPC of the soil. So for that you need a wider area of the footing. So in that case, how will you do? If you have a larger area, that can be achieved through combined footing. Okay, so when the column is close to the property line, so that the footing cannot be spread in that direction, and center of gravity of the column will not coincide with the center of gravity of the footing. These situations we can go for combined footing. So when the column is close to the property line or boundary line of the site, so that footing cannot be spread on the either directions, and center of gravity of the column will not coincide with the center of gravity of the footing. In that cases, this is the best choice. So these are the two different types. The first one is here, it's a rectangular type. This is a trapezoidal one. So this is the plan of the drawing. This is the 3D view of the footing. This is the plan, and this is again the 3D view of the trapezoidal footing. You can see here. This is the footing and these are the columns.